This is going to be the first country in the world to disappear from the map of the Earth. The people living here will have no home, no land, no homeland. The government has started 3D scanning of the entire country. Every house, building, tree, plant, stone, everything is being scanned.
As our land disappears, we have no choice. Our land, our ocean, our culture are the most precious assets of our people.
The government of the entire country has also started planning to shift into the virtual world. Hello friends, in a mysterious part of the Earth, right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, lies one of the world's smallest countries, Tuvalu. Its population is just around 11,000 people. But this tiny country is going to become a terrifying example in history. Tuvalu could become the first country in the world whose entire population will have to leave their homes, their land, their homeland, forever.
We are sinking, but so is everyone else.
And the direct reason behind this is climate change. Climate change is an existential threat to all humanity. But right now, countries in the Pacific Ocean are especially in the deepest crisis. What's happening in Tuvalu? To understand this, we first need to understand its location and geography. It's an island nation, located exactly here in the South Pacific Ocean. Australia is the only major country lying close to it. By land area, after Vatican City, Monaco, and Nauru, this is the fourth smallest country in the world. In total, it has only 26 square kilometers of land. Tuvalu is made up of 9 very tiny islands, 6 of which are atolls. Now, what are atolls? It's important to know this here. They are formed from volcanoes. In the middle of the ocean, as you know, many volcanoes exist because of changes in tectonic plates. When a volcano slowly cools and sinks underwater, coral remains around it. Over time, corals grow upward, and sand and stones accumulate on them. This gradually leads to the formation of atolls. They are ring-shaped, with shallow water inside. Many islands in Tuvalu and Fiji Islands have also formed like this. But the best example is Maldives. If you look at the map, the Maldives is entirely made up of 26 different atolls. Almost every island here is part of an atoll. Now, the thing about atolls is that unlike other islands, they don't rise very high above sea level. This is why Maldives is the world's lowest lying country. Its average ground elevation is only 1.5 meters. Tuvalu is also one of the world's lowest lying countries, with an average elevation of just 2 meters above sea level. Its highest point is only 4.6 meters. This means that even a small wave or storm can flood homes, roads, and fields near the coasts. Maldives' capital city island, Male, is at least a little wide. But Tuvalu's main island, Funafuti, is stretched out like a thin snake, barely wide at all. Look at the drone view of their airport. Half the island is taken up by the airstrip itself. This is why Tuvalu will be the first to suffer because of climate change. As you know, ice in the Arctic and Antarctica is melting, raising sea levels. But the worst news for Tuvalu is that sea levels here are rising faster than the global average. According to NASA, between 1993 and 2023, sea levels in Tuvalu rose by 15 centimeters, 1.5 times the global average. NASA predicts that by 2050, sea level in Tuvalu will rise by 20 to 30 centimeters, and by 2100, by 1 meter. This will greatly increase the frequency of floods. Today, floods happen around 5 days a year. By 2050, it will be 25 days, and by 2100, 100 days of the year will be flooded. NASA says that if climate change continues on this trajectory, by 2050 most of Tuvalu's critical infrastructure will be submerged during high tide. On the capital island Funafuti, where 60% of the population lives, half of it will be underwater. By 2100, an estimated 95% of the country will be submerged. Now when we talk about years like 2100, it's easy to disassociate. Oh, it won't matter, I won't even be alive. But friends, here we are talking about 2050. Just 25 years from now, the country's critical infrastructure will sink. Most of us will still be alive to witness this. This shows that climate change is no longer a future problem. It is today's problem. NASA based this prediction on 30 years of satellite data, starting from 1993 using satellite altimetry to measure sea level rise. Scientists then created a high-resolution digital elevation model to assess flood risk. If this kind of threat loomed over cities like Canberra or Zurich, people could simply be moved to higher ground. But Tuvalu doesn't have this option. The country is nearly flat, highest point just 4.5 meters above sea level. There is no high ground. Another option could be changing Tuvalu's geography through human intervention, building artificial islands like Dubai did with Palm Islands. But the problem is money. Tuvalu is a tiny, poor country with just 11,000 people. Still, they are trying. They've started creating artificial flood-free land, already building about 18 to 19 acres by 2024. They're also constructing protective barriers, seawalls, and reef-top units.
We've been engaged to construct about 1,400 metres of berm-top barriers, along with 200 metres of concrete seawall, as well as construct 7 reef-top units.
Maldives has done this too, but it has tourism money. Tuvalu doesn't. It has no tour guides, operators, or organised activities. Most of its revenue comes from aid, mainly from the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Even so, resources are too limited. That's why the government has started working on Plan B, evacuation. 2 years ago, Tuvalu signed the Falapili Union Treaty with Australia. This treaty includes a special climate visa, giving 280 Tuvalu citizens permanent residency in Australia every year. This is the world's first climate visa. Applications opened on June 16th, and more than 8,750 people applied. That's 82% of the entire population. But how will Australia choose only 280? Age, jobs, education? No. To be fair, they will use a lottery system. After verification, 280 people will be selected randomly and given permanent residency, with access to health, education, housing, and jobs, but not voting rights. If this continues, in less than 40 years the entire population could be relocated. The treaty also states that even if Tuvalu physically disappears, Australia will continue to recognise it as a sovereign nation. Tuvalu itself has amended its constitution, declaring itself a virtual state. They are 3D scanning every home, tree, and object, making a digital copy of the entire nation. People are scanning their most valued possessions, even memories, grandfather's stories, festival dances, so that culture survives. The government will also move into the digital world, with digital passports to conduct elections, registrations, and governance.
As our land disappears, we have no choice but to become the world's first digital nation. Our land, our ocean, our culture are the most precious assets of our people. And to keep them safe from harm, no matter what happens in the physical world, we'll move them to the cloud. Islands like this one won't survive rapid temperature increases, rising sea levels, and droughts, so we'll recreate them virtually.
Tuvalu believes that moving its land, ocean, and culture to the cloud will preserve its soul. Already, 25 countries including Australia and New Zealand recognize Tuvalu's virtual state. But sadly, Tuvalu's story is not just about one country. Many others, Nauru, Kiribati, Marshall Islands, are on the same path. And the most tragic part, their contribution to climate change is almost zero. The real culprits are big countries like the USA, Germany, France, India, and China. G20 nations alone are responsible for 80% of global emissions. Meanwhile, tiny countries like Tuvalu with almost no carbon footprint are paying the price.
Our land is fast disappearing. Tuvalu is literally sinking. We must take action now.
Phasing it out. It doesn't mention any date, but there will be a big pushback from coal-dependent nations. Oil and gas are under the spotlight too. The document says subsidies for them should be ended. There'll be a fight over this proposal.
Australia, though helping Tuvalu, is itself a major coal and gas exporter, contributing massively to emissions. Tuvalu's Prime Minister has said this expansion is a death sentence for their nation.
Put it plainly, it is a death sentence if larger nations continue to increase their emissions. Illustrate that the wealthiest Commonwealth countries have historically benefited disproportionately from fossil fuel development.
Geopolitically, Australia also wants to counter China's influence in the Pacific. Tuvalu recognizes Taiwan, not China, and Australia wants to keep it that way. In fact, Tuvalu is also among the 12 countries that have formal diplomatic relations with Taiwan. This country recognizes Taiwan as a country but not China. And to change this position, Tuvalu has received many offers from China. Before Australia, Tuvaluan officials had even held talks with China, but this was not acceptable for Australia. And in the Pacific Ocean, Australia and China are, in a way, direct competitors. Australia does not want China's influence to grow in its neighborhood, and that is why Australia signed this legally binding treaty with Tuvalu.
Threatened by climate change. Minister Anthony Albanese and Tuvalu Prime Minister Kosia Natano sign a historic treaty.
What will happen with this? Even in the future, Tuvalu will never recognize China. Now, as I said friends, Tuvalu is not the only low-lying country located in this region. In the Pacific Ocean, there are many such countries whose elevation is not much. Because of rising sea levels, the existence of all these countries is in danger, and they are all fighting it in different ways. Take the example of Kiribati. In 2014, this country bought 20 square kilometers of land in Fiji so that if the country sinks, its people can be relocated there. The Maldives, at one time, also planned to buy land in India, Sri Lanka, and Australia. In 2012, the Maldives even tried to buy land in Australia, but the matter did not progress. Apart from this, many other Pacific nations are trying to save themselves with the help of nature. In Fiji and the Solomon Islands, large-scale mangrove plantations are being carried out along coastlines. Mangroves not only stop land erosion but also act as a natural barrier against sea waves. They can reduce wave height by up to 66%, depending on conditions. Similarly, efforts are also underway to restore coral reefs. These reefs absorb the energy of the waves before they hit the shores, reducing the damage. Like Tuvalu, many countries such as the Marshall Islands, Tonga, Fiji, and the Solomon Islands have also built seawalls along their coastlines to stop water from entering. Even though Tuvalu and all these countries may be saved from sinking through such different methods, there is a big difference between a future and a secure future. One sure-shot thing that can be said is that living for the people of these islands will not be easy anymore. These countries do not have unlimited money, so in the future, at some point, they will have to decide which island to save and which island to let sink. In the coming time, all these countries will remain trapped in the loop of these temporary solutions. In reality, the story of Tuvalu, friends, is a warning bell for millions of people around the world. If you are feeling thankful that you do not live in these countries today, don't be too happy, because the threat of sea level rise will have to be faced by 800 million people around the world by the year. Sydney, Auckland, and Amsterdam are three cities where the largest number of people are at risk from sea level rise. On this map, you can see how many areas around the world are at this risk. If you live in any of these places, in the coming time, year after year, the threat of flooding will keep increasing. It has been estimated that the global economic cost of rising sea levels will be $1 trillion. The threat will keep increasing year after year. Your home may even end up submerged. There is only one solution to escape from all this. All the countries of the world, all the people of the world, must come together and fight against climate change. We will have to stop using coal, oil, and gas as quickly as possible. All coal-based power plants around the world will have to be shut down. The entire energy system will have to be shifted to renewable energy quickly. Climate change is a huge issue and the biggest fight of our generation. In the coming time, I will talk about this in many more videos. But for now, I want to leave you with this thought, that being successful in such a fight is definitely possible, because humanity and governments around the world have already done this before. In the fight against the ozone hole. Remember the problem of the ozone hole that we read about in school books? It was one such problem that the entire world came together to solve successfully. How was this possible? You can click here to learn that story, and the link to Scalar's free live masterclass is given in the description below. Thank you very much.